What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about a road split in half by the Canada-US border. That's right, and not in the way you would think, not in the normal way. Like when you're driving into another country, you're driving down the road, and suddenly you approach a border, and you go through a gate or something, and you drive into the other country. That is not how this border is. This road is split down lengthwise, where one side of the road is in America, and one side of the road is in Canada, and I have no idea why you would do this. How did this happen? If you need to like go to the grocery store, do you have to like get your passport out or something? If the grocery store is on the other side of the road, that's another country. That's Canada, or for Canadians maybe having to come to America. None of it makes any sense, but I'm absolutely fascinated by the existence of this border. I had no idea there was actually like a road in between America and Canada. So I thought this would be a real fun topic to learn more about, because it's a bit confusing, but intriguing. So let's take a look.
I'm not allowed to cross this road because this is the town of Stansted, Canada. On the other side of the street is Derby Line, USA, and the border between the two countries runs right down this.
What? It doesn't make any sense. And wait a minute. So the border runs down the center of the road. When you cross, if you go down the road, if you have any intention of coming back home, like the other direction back, you have to cross the border. And like, how does that work? Is anyone keeping tabs on this? Are people just running back and forth? That's what I do. And another thing, at the beginning of the video here, there's people in the background of him talking, right there. They're on motorcycles. They crossed the road. They literally crossed the road back there. Look.
I'm not allowed to cross this road because this is the town of Stansted, Canada. On the other side of the street is Derby Line, USA.
Stop. This guy on the motorcycle just crossed the road. He said you're not allowed to do that. Someone stop him. Get that guy. That's funny. Okay, let's keep going.
And the border between the two countries runs right down this.
Okay.
Rue Canusa. For the local residents, that can be inconvenient.
That could be very inconvenient. I like the dual, country flags going on here. Can USA, Rue Avenue. This is kind of nice. So literally, Canadians and Americans living, I don't know, 50 feet away from each other. The size of a road.
I lived here all my life, so 63 years. Today, you cannot cross over the line and visit your neighbors like years ago. If you want to cross, you have to report at customs. I used to...
Whoa, what? What? At some level of me, I was thinking, they got some kind of agreement here where you can cross the road if your kid kicks their ball across the road into the neighbor's lawn. Surely you can go get it, but maybe not. Maybe you're committing an international crime or something. You have to report it to customs? But it still doesn't make sense to me. If you're going one way down the road to the store, you have to come back. But you're on the other side of the road, which is the other country.
I used to cross every day. Now I probably cross once a week because I come down to the post office over here. To go through the border, basically they ask you a passport. They go inside. I guess they look at if you have a record or not. They look at your registration of your car. But
what? Wait, what? They actually, you have to go to border crossing, talk to the border patrol, get your passport out or whatever you got to do? I did not think it was going to be like this. This is a logistical nightmare if you live. Even this guy was saying that he stopped crossing the border. It used to be every day, back in the good old days, when they didn't even have to report it. Now he does it once a week because the post office is on the other side of the road.
A couple minutes and you're gone through. I'm a dual citizen, so I'm American and Canadian.
Oh, that makes sense.
This is a place where the...
Good place to be a dual citizen, huh?
This is a place where the idea of a border as a solid, easy to understand line gets a little bit fuzzy. The
Right.
road doesn't run at exactly the same angle as the border, not precisely. The official line is that this is Canada and that's the USA, but both countries' maps show the road as being entirely in the US just here and entirely in Canada up there. The houses are
What? Oh my god, this is a nightmare. So depending on like what map you're looking at, like the borderline is literally on the road, like on the road line. But then some parts of it go into Canada and then it swings back into America. And do you have to go through a border patrol every time, or
definitely in separate countries, but the road, it's not quite as clear. And in
the road? The road, it's not clear. And this map is kind of pixelated and fuzzy. How did this happen?
practice, if I was driving, I'd be okay. Even on that side of the road, I am considered to be still in Canada, as long as I don't stop and walk up to an American house. It's fair to say that there's a little bit of leniency here. If you just nudge
So okay, that answers the question. They are like, okay, you can drive on either side of the road, and they're not gonna like stop you and like designate what country you're in. Although it is interesting if you committed a crime on this road, like right in the center of this road, it'd be interesting to be like, what country are you committing the crime in? And finally, what makes sense to me is that he's starting to talk about a little bit of leniency, like a little bit of like wiggle room here, where no one really cares, like what side of the road you're on, and having to like declare that you're traveling internationally. That makes sense to me. That'd just be insane.
road, I am considered to be still in Canada, as long as I don't stop and walk up to an American house.
Huh.
It's fair to say that there's a little bit of leniency here if you're just nudging the border by a few centimetres, or if you're on that side, a couple of inches. But while I was setting up my camera here, the police turned up, lights flashing, to move along those bikers you saw earlier.
That looked like the police. Looked like the police driving by right as he said that.
Camera here, the police turned up, lights flashing, to move along those bikers you saw earlier, who were admiring the view from the other side of the road. It all seemed in good spirits, but they had crossed the border.
What? Okay, wow. Never mind. They do take this like seriously. I think there's like people patrolling this road. So the bikers were like, I assume they were biking on the road, but they were stopping to... It's a little convoluted, actually. It's like, I can't tell if the border is right in the middle, dead center of the yellow line in the middle of the road. Or it also sounds like what it could be is at some points, both lanes are in Canada, and at some points both lanes are in America, but the bikers like stopped on the road and were admiring Canada. You can't even stop and admire Canada here. And they were told to shoot. Beat it! No, no admiring here. Get out of here.
Well, the library is part on the Canadian side, part on the American side. But you stay on Canadian side, you stay on the sidewalk, and you go through the front door, and it's permitted.
No way. Dude, no freaking way. You can't make this up. The library is half half in Canada, half in America? Good. But America's got the front door, thank goodness. Canadians just gotta climb in through the back window or something. What is this? So they got like potted plants out. Pots. Like, that's the border marker. And a little stone there. Okay.
On Canusa Street, there's a sidewalk on the Canadian side. So back years ago, it was tolerated that people on the American side could cross over and walk on the sidewalk. So, basically it's a little dangerous to walk on the side of the road. And now today, well, it's not tolerated no more.
Wow, you can't... Wow. So it sounds like where they are right there. I'm still a little fuzzy on this, but that part of the road seems to be all Canada Road. And the houses, that's where America starts. So you can't like go on that grass, or those people can't walk on the road, or they used to be able to go on the sidewalk, but now you can't. And oh my God.
I think the rule hasn't changed much, but they're more enforced. When you cross, they ask you more questions than they used to.
Really?
Years ago.
Really? Welcome to the United States. There it is. This is it. This is like the border gates thing. They ask you more questions. Man, I thought going into this they were going to be so lenient, like, and it's probably mostly people who live in these two towns that are right up against each other on each side of the road. Like, you'd think that the people who work at the border would almost get to know the people who live there, or the people who live here should get like special privileges so they don't have to like declare every single time they cross. How annoying. Man, this is a really cool phenomenon, but it also seems real annoying.
Before you went through the border and you knew most of the custom officer, and they used to wave to you.
Yeah, right.
In 1783, this section of the Canada-US border was set at the 45th parallel, a line of latitude. Slightly inaccurate measurements were accepted by both countries.
What? There, look, this is what it is right here. When they draw the border line on this parallel, on this road, it's like whoever they got to do it was like they weren't paying attention. They were having a little to drink or something. They were just, it was their day off. They didn't get out the protractor and they made a squiggly line, slightly squiggly. And now like part of the road's in Canada, part of it's in America.
So it was locked in. But as for this specific road, there are local stories about drunk surveyors and pranks, but no one really knows.
No one knows? Wait. Oh, drunk surveyors. No one really knows. That's funny. I got one more quick video here that is also on this exact road. I think goes into a little more detail. That video was great for like an overview of what we're looking at. I'm hoping this video here gives a little more answers and detail into all this. One side of this street is in the United States. The other is in Canada. Okay.
CAN for Canada, USA for the United States.
Oh, Rue Canusa. Can USA. Canusa. Love it. I totally get it.
And the actual border is the center line of that road.
What? The border is the center line of the road. What is this? What is this, curling? Oh, Canadian curler, American curler. Ah, there's like a co-international curling club. Perfect. That's what you need more of in a situation like this. Not like the police showing up and telling you to beat it. Let's just curl together. Is the border of our two countries like down the center of this building or something? That'd be fun. That'd just be perfect. Yep, look at that. Canada on the bottom, USA on the top.
Well, let me introduce you to the border. We have houses that are divided.
What?
If we were to look around, there probably is a hidden camera. Uncle Sam is watching us. It's odd that it would slice it right in two.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the logic was.
Thank you. Kelly Kahn. That's his name. No idea who you are, but thank you. Someone finally came out and said it. None of this makes sense. Who did this? It's like some kind of joke. This is a local businessman. The border cuts houses in half. It cuts the library in half. Post office is on the like Canadian side, or nothing makes sense.
I was told the line was supposed to be back probably about a quarter of a mile back in the state.
They thought the border was going to be on the 45th parallel, and it's actually about a half a mile north.
And now everyone is suffering because of this? And, man, they wanted to make it on the 45th parallel, right? That's what they were saying in the other video. So it's not. They messed up. It's like miles off. It's off where it was supposed to be. What? And I'm guessing at this point, changing like a international border territory is just like something that's not gonna happen. Like, that's not something that's very easy to change now. They really messed up.
It's basically that mistake that we have today.
Wow. Okay, that explains it. You know, they're being honest. They came out and said it. It's a mistake. I was like, at the beginning of this, I was like, why would this be a situation that exists? It's cool. It's a novelty. it's actually kind of fun that it exists for us who don't live in this whole situation. Looking in, it's like that's kind of cool, but it seems like a real headache. Like if you actually live here. Despite being in the wrong place, the border was never corrected. That's right, in true American fashion. Or and maybe Canada shares some of this responsibility as well. Make the mistake and never talk about it again. Never correct it.
You can see that line where the border is, and it's not
Oh,
straight,
yeah.
it curves.
Yeah.
My geography teacher said it was alcohol involved.
I thought that was a joke. More than one of the locals is saying alcohol was involved. At some point, it stops being a joke, and it's like, was it? I think maybe.
You know, who knows?
Who knows? I think
Mostly
they know.
sleepy. It's certainly not like the Mexican border. You know, there's things going on, but nothing terribly exciting.
Okay.
Well, the local-
I'd say this is like exciting. I bet tourists come here to like step their toe. So those flower pots right there are like, we're on the Canada side right now, and the other side of those flower pots is America. It'd be so tempting to just like stick your toe over. But they literally have like border police right there watching for that toe.
Locals know how to get things across.
What? Wait, what did he just insinuate? Illegal activity?
The locals,
Locals know how to get stuff across?
nothing terribly exciting. Well, the locals know how to get things across.
What? What is like smuggling? Smuggling bubble gum or something? Like if you don't want to cross the border?
The first custom officer described the people in this area as the most lawless people that he'd ever seen and the most disregard for the law that he'd seen.
Oh.
Because the people were very accustomed just to crossing back and forth across the border without any questions being asked.
I mean, I get that. I think that's okay. I sympathize with this situation. Like if you're a customs agent and you're like, people are just committing crime, terrible, we have the worst community. It's like, no. They just want to like live a normal life and walk across the street without having to report it to the government. Like they really need to figure this out or make special like passports for all these people or something.
People got a little more accustomed to it, but they still did a fair amount of smuggling. And
Smuggling.
it's not quite as prevalent today, but there still is some that goes on.
Smuggling. Oh my god. Life on the border isn't as simple as it used to be. Yeah, you can't just skip over to the other side of the street, say hello to Fred and Mary, and go back over. People are gonna actually like report you. You get arrested.
For many, many years, it was sort of a novelty. That novelty sort of wore off in more recent years.
Right.
Well, years ago, it was completely different. It was very friendly. We say there's the friendliest border in the world.
Oh.
As a young boy, I remember we used to pedal across. We used to go down to Newport to get milkshakes or freezies. And we get on our bikes and pedal across. And we just waved to the custom officers.
Really? Yeah, I feel like, man, is that just the day and age we live in? Nothing's innocent and fun anymore. That's too bad.
But since 9/11, it's changed drastically.
Yeah, so they are taking the border really, really seriously. And on some level, you know, I can appreciate that. Like, it is a serious matter.
Over the years, it had grown in tremendously, and it was hard to even see where the border was. And then they have these cement posts every so often that demark the actual border.
Right. Okay.
I think the world is...
Oh, and they got cameras. They got signs, like cameras watching you. Oh, what's this? Do not enter. You may not enter the United States on this street. Violators are subject to a $5,000 fine. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. You can't... Why does this street exist? Why does it exist if you can't enter it? What is it? I don't understand. Maybe U.S. citizens can, or?
I think the world has changed, and we've had to change with it.
Huh, right.
I think it's a wonderful place to be. It's like we are at the center of everything.
The center of everything. I love
To be, it's like we are
Canusa. Canusa. Can USA. I love that is the perfect street name.
at the center of everything.
The center of everything. There you have it. That's the line. So the border, I was wondering about this. I'm still confused a little bit. This is saying the border is down the dead center of the street. So it really... How? If you're going somewhere, you pull out of your home, you drive somewhere. When you drive back, I know I've been saying this, but I'm still so confused by this. When you drive back, you're on the other side of the road. So you have to go to the other country. But then, when you're pulling into your driveway, you might have to cross the road again if your house is on the other side. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm really grasping at straws here. But this that was kind of the fun of this topic today. I thought this seemed very interesting, strange, and it was. It was interesting and strange. I kind of understand. I understand why it happened now. It's a mistake. It's not on purpose. It's a mistake. They didn't want it like this. Oh, and now they can't fix it. So it's just this weird anomaly. I was like, why does this exist? That's why. That's funny that that's actually the answer. And sadly, as time has gone on, it's not even as innocent as it used to be. You can't even like cross the road anymore, like without reporting it, or literally like going. You have to go all the way to the border and show your passport and talk and do it that way. But you know, it is what it is. I guess this was fascinating. Honestly, very fascinating. I enjoyed this topic. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on this weird US-Canada border road. That'd be real interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture and stuff about Canada I've never seen before or learned about, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.